Oxford in the 1700s was not just a university town, it was a world of stone towers, candlelit libraries, muddy lanes, whispered debates, and dangerous ideas. By the mid-18th century, its population hovered around 12,000, yet its influence stretched across the British Empire. In this video, I use modern AI tools to bring historic paintings, engravings, and prints to life, allowing us to shift perspective, change camera angles, and move through the same scenes in ways their original artists never could. First, I want to talk about Carfax Tower. This view shows Carfax Tower rising above the narrow crossroads at the heart of Oxford. By the early 1700s, this medieval tower was already centuries old. In the foreground, market carts crowd the street, women in linen caps haggle over bread, apprentices carry bundles of cloth. The stone is weathered, darkened by soot from hundreds of chimneys. You can almost hear the bells ringing above the clatter of hooves. The air smells of smoke, damp wool, and livestock. But this crossroads was not peaceful. Traffic jams were common. Carriages collided. Arguments broke out. Pickpockets worked the crowds. At night, the streets were dim and dangerous. Carfax mattered because it marked the centre of the city. Roads from London, Woodstock, Abingdon, and the north all met here. Ideas, goods, and travellers passed through this single point. In 1810, most of St. Martin's Church was demolished, leaving only the tower standing. Today, remarkably, you can still climb Carfax Tower and look across the same crossroads, though the mud and market stalls are long gone. This view shows the Radcliffe Camera. By the 1740s, Oxford was transforming. In 1737, physician John Radcliffe's fortune funded a grand new library. Designed by James Gibbs and completed in 1749, the Radcliffe Camera rose in elegant stone curbs. In the foreground, masons shape blocks of Headington stone. In the midground, scholars in black gowns walk carefully around scaffolding. The skyline shifts as the dome takes form. Daily life here was quiet but intense. Students read Latin texts by candlelight. Tutors debated theology and science. Yet this was also the age of the Enlightenment. New ideas challenged old traditions. Some feared that modern science threatened religious authority. Debates grew heated inside college walls. The Radcliffe Camera mattered because it symbolized knowledge and ambition. It showed that Oxford was not frozen in the Middle Ages. Today, it remains one of the most iconic buildings in Oxford, and with AI reconstruction, we can move through its courtyard as it first appeared, fresh and pale against the sky. This view shows Christ Church College and Tom Tower. By the early 1700s, Christ Church was already one of the grandest colleges. Cardinal Wolsey founded it in 1525. In 1681, Sir Christopher Wren completed Tom Tower. In the foreground, students cross the quad in long black gowns. In the background, Tom Tower rises proudly. Every evening at 9:05 p.m., the great Tom bell rings. 101 times, a tradition marking the original 101 scholars. The sound echoes across the city. It is deep and commanding, but beneath the beauty, discipline was strict. Students could be fined for drunkenness or missing prayers. Oxford had a reputation for rowdy undergraduates. Christ Church mattered because it educated future leaders of Britain. Prime ministers, bishops, and writers passed through these gates. Today, visitors still stand in the same quadrangle. The bell still rings. Some traditions survive almost unchanged. This view shows the Sheldonian Theatre. Completed in 1669 and designed by Christopher Wren, the Sheldonian Theatre was Oxford's ceremonial heart. By the 18th century, degree ceremonies filled its painted interior. In the foreground, crowds gather in bright academic robes. The ceiling, painted with allegorical figures, glows in candlelight. The air smells of wax and perfume. Families cheer quietly as sons receive degrees. Yet ceremonies could also be political. During the Jacobite risings of 1715 and 1745, loyalty to the crown was a sensitive issue. Oaths of allegiance were serious matters. The Sheldonian mattered because it displayed Oxford's power and unity. It still stands today, hosting graduations and concerts. The painted ceiling still looks down on new generations. This view shows the Bodleian Library courtyard. By 1700, the Bodleian was already one of Europe's greatest libraries. Founded in 1602 by Sir Thomas Bodley, it held thousands of manuscripts. In the foreground, scholars hurry across cobblestones. In the midground, the Divinity School's Gothic ceiling stretches like stone lace. Inside, silence dominates. Pages turn softly. Ink scratches across parchment. But books were rare and precious. Fire was a constant threat. Candles had to be carefully watched. The Bodleian mattered because it preserved knowledge during times of change. Today, it remains a working library. The same wooden desks are still used. This view shows the covered market, opened in 1774. By the late 1700s, Oxford's streets were crowded and unsanitary. The city decided to organise its trade under one roof. In the foreground, butchers hang meat from iron hooks. Bakers sell warm loaves. The smell of spices mixes with sawdust. Disease was a real danger. Poor sanitation led to outbreaks of illness. The covered market mattered because it modernized the city's economy and improved public health. Today, it still operates, though cleaner and brighter than in its early days. This view shows Magdalen Bridge and the River Cherwell. By the 18th century, the river was both beautiful and practical. Barges carried goods. Students strolled along its banks. In spring, blossoms reflected on calm water, but floods were frequent. Heavy rains could turn paths into swamps. The river mattered because it connected Oxford to trade routes beyond the city. Today, punters glide across the Cherwell much as they did centuries ago. This view shows Oxford during the harsh winter of 1739-1740, known as the Great Frost. It was one of the coldest winters in European history. Snow blankets rooftops. Smoke rises, thick from chimneys. In the foreground, poor families struggled to find firewood. Food shortages caused hardship. Prices rose. Not everyone survived. Moments like this remind us that the past was fragile. This view shows a typical Oxford street at night. By candlelight, shadows stretch across stone walls. Taverns glow warmly. Laughter spills into the street. But crime was common. Watchmen patrolled with lanterns. Duels and drunken fights broke out. Order was not guaranteed. Finally, this view shows the skyline of Oxford at sunset. By the late 1700s, the city had survived political tension, intellectual change, harsh winters, and social conflict. Its towers stood firm. The Industrial Revolution was beginning elsewhere in Britain, but Oxford remained devoted to scholarship and tradition. Many of the buildings we have seen still stand today. When you walk through Oxford now, you walk through layers of time. Through AI reconstruction, we are not just looking at static engravings, we are stepping into them. We are standing where students once stood, hearing bells that once echoed across muddy streets. The past feels closer than we imagine. If there's another city, moment, or scene you'd like me to bring to life, let me know in the comments. Again, thank you so much.